New York, 1930. To the world below, this is the Jazz Age, a city of lights, flappers, and endless money. But you are not on the ground. You are 1,000 feet in the air, hanging by a single steel cable. To you, the city isn't a dream. It is a mouth waiting to swallow you. This is the era of the Sky Boys, the men who walked on air to build the Empire State Building. But while they built a monument to the sky, the rest of the city was falling into the Great Depression. Before we step out onto the beam, look down. Don't close your eyes. If you fall from here, you have time to say a prayer before you hit the pavement. We are building a global archive of the past bravest and most desperate souls. Where are you traveling from today? Tell me in the comments. Now, grab a rivet. The foreman is watching. This building shouldn't exist. It is an anomaly. In 1930, the stock market has crashed. The banks are closing. The streets are filled with men begging for a dime. And yet, here you are, building the tallest structure in human history. It is a Tower of Babel, rising out of a graveyard of ambition. While the city starves, the steel continues to climb, fueled by the desperation of men who will do anything for a paycheck. Watch the heater. He pulls a rivet from the forge. It is red hot, glowing like a bullet. He tosses it 50 feet through the air. You have to catch it in a tin bucket. If you miss, that bolt of molten metal falls onto the pedestrians on 5th Avenue. This is the Rivet Gang. It is a ballet of fire and iron performed on a stage only 8 inches wide. The enemy here isn't the mud, it is the wind. At the 80th floor, the wind doesn't just blow, it punches. It screams like a banshee. You don't wear a safety harness. You don't have a net. You have your balance and you have your boots. If the wind gusts while you're swinging the hammer, you don't just lose your footing. You become a statistic. You don't take an elevator to work. You take the hoist. It is a temporary cage of mesh and rattling wood bolted to the outside of the steel. It rockets upward at 1,000 feet per minute. There are no walls, just a blur of red steel and grey sky rushing past your face. The mechanic operating it pulls a lever and your stomach drops into your boots. If the cable snaps, and they do snap, there are no emergency brakes. You ride the cage all the way down to the basement. The ride up is the only time a skyboy is allowed to be afraid. Look miles away, towards Central Park. Do you see the shacks? Those are Hoovervilles. The men who built this city are now sleeping in crates on the grass. You sleep in shifts. You rent a corner of a cold room in the Lower East Side. Every morning, you look at the skyline you helped build, knowing you can never afford to enter the doors. The deadliest job on the site belongs to the connector. While the riveters work in teams, the connector works alone. You are the first man up. You climb a naked vertical steel column with no bolt holes to step on. You have to shimmy up the grease-covered steel like a bear, and then you wait. The derrick swings a 10-ton steel beam toward your head. You don't duck. You have to catch it. You have to wrestle 10 tons of moving iron into place with your bare hands and a spud wrench. If you miss, it crushes you. It is a wrestling match with gravity, and gravity never gets tired. The economy of 1930 is a weapon. Every morning begins with the shape up. 300 men stand at the gate. The foreman points to 5. You, and you. The rest go home to starving families. You don't work for a career. You work to eat today. A man's life is worth exactly 50 cents an hour, and there are 1,000 men waiting to take your place if you fall. There is a phenomenon known among the skyboys, the silence. When a man slips, he rarely screams. The air is sucked out of his lungs. You watch him fall. He gets smaller and smaller. You wait for the sound, but from this height, you never hear the thud. He just vanishes into the fog. You don't stop working. You don't look down. You just grip your hammer tighter. When the whistle blows, you descend. You cash your check and head to the blind tiger. Prohibition is still the law, but the law doesn't apply here. You drink needle beer, alcohol injected with ether. It numbs the vertigo. It stops the shaking in your hands. Under the electric lights, you can pretend that depression isn't waiting outside the door, but it is always waiting. Even when you are safe on the ground, the building stays with you. Look at your hands. The pneumatic rivet gun weighs 30 pounds and fires 1,000 strokes a minute. It destroys your nerves. It's called white finger or the shakes. You are sitting in the speakeasy, trying to hold a glass of beer, but your hand is vibrating so hard you spill it. You can't button your own shirt. You can't hold a pen. You have sold your nervous system to the Empire State Building for $10 a day. Up here, the tribes are different. You work alongside the Mohawk iron workers. They travel from Quebec to walk the high steel. Legend says they have no fear of heights. That isn't true. They just have a different relationship with the wind. In the sky, the racism of the street dissolves. There is only one race up here, the living, and everyone else is the dead. The fire that consumed New York wasn't made of flame. It was made of ticker tape. The crash of '29 incinerated the future. The bankers jumped from windows. The workers jumped onto beams. It is a cycle of destruction. The city devours itself to build itself higher. You are constructing a tombstone for an era that is already dead. Today, tourists stand on the observation deck and take selfies. They don't see the steel. They don't know that for every floor, there is a story of a near miss. There is a myth that bodies are buried in the concrete foundation. That isn't true. The bodies aren't in the concrete. They are in the wind. Lewis Hine called them the goddesses of the machine age, but they were just men. Men who conquered gravity because they were afraid of starvation. Looking back at these photos, you are looking at the DNA of the modern world. Which descent do you want to take next? Tell me in the comments.